It might sound a little extreme at first, but let's be real for a second. Have you ever noticed a guy who seems to have everything going for him? The kind of man who turns heads when he walks into a room. Maybe he's well-dressed, speaks with confidence, maybe even drives a nice car and carries himself with purpose. But despite all that, he still struggles to form real, meaningful connections with women. You watch him, and something doesn't add up. He's got the surface-level qualities most people assume women are attracted to: confidence, looks, financial success, but none of it seems to stick. Conversations fizzle. Dates don't go anywhere. And sooner or later, he ends up frustrated, confused, wondering why things aren't working. This is the truth most men never talk about. Attraction is far deeper than appearance or charm. Most men overlook the small, subtle, and incredibly powerful behaviors that spark real emotional connection. It's not about being the loudest guy in the room or memorizing cheesy pickup lines. It's about mastering the moments that women don't even consciously realize they are craving. The secret lies in small actions, micro-gestures, moments of presence that seem insignificant, but to her, speak volumes. And today, I'm about to reveal 7 deeply psychological triggers, backed by science, human behavior, and even ancient Stoic wisdom, that can dramatically change the way women perceive you. These aren't your average dating tips. These aren't about trying harder or doing more. In fact, it's often about doing less, but doing it with greater intention. It's about energy, subtlety, awareness. The kind of energy that pulls someone in without force. That rare sense of presence that lingers in a woman's mind long after you've left the room. Imagine this: what if you could create that kind of emotional gravity? What if, instead of chasing women or proving your worth, you simply moved in a way that made her feel seen, safe, and deeply desired? Not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. Because here's the thing: if you don't understand these secrets, you're at a disadvantage. You could be missing out on real connection without even realizing it. So let me walk you through something that happens all the time. You're on a date. The conversation is flowing. She's laughing at your jokes. There's chemistry, or at least it seems that way. You drop her off. You text her later. And suddenly, nothing. Silence. She doesn't reply. And you're left wondering what went wrong. Most guys think the words they say are what matter most. But women don't just connect through words. They connect through presence, energy, physicality. What most men don't realize is that physical touch, subtle, respectful, well-timed touch, plays a massive role in building attraction. Not in an aggressive or inappropriate way, but in a quiet, powerful way. Something as simple as a gentle shoulder rub before intimacy. A moment where you're not trying to get anything, just trying to help her feel relaxed. This tiny act sends a loud message. It says, "I see you. I care about your comfort. I'm not rushing." It signals safety, trust, grounded masculinity. And that's rare. Most men skip that moment entirely. They're either nervous or too focused on themselves to pause and be present. But the man who is grounded in the moment, who touches with care and intention, who understands how a single gesture can communicate volumes, that man becomes unforgettable. Let me give you another example. Flirting. Most men either go way overboard, trying too hard, acting like a clown, or they hold back completely, afraid of coming off as awkward or creepy. But here's the truth: women love flirting. Not the in-your-face, exaggerated kind. But the kind that feels natural, playful, and emotionally intelligent. A well-placed tease. A little smirk. A moment where you challenge her just enough to keep her curious. For example, she tells you her favorite food is sushi, and you say, "That's it? You clearly haven't tasted mine yet." It's light, fun, confident. But more than that, it's emotionally grounded. Because great flirting isn't about approval. It's about self-assurance. You're not trying to win her over. You're not fishing for compliments. You're simply enjoying the moment. You're relaxed. You're playful. You're fully present. That's what makes a woman feel excited around you. Not what you say, but how you carry yourself. Your body language. Your eyes. Your pauses. Attraction happens in the quiet spaces between words. In how you hold tension. In how you handle silence. And when you understand that, everything changes. Now let's talk about something even more subtle. Something most men never even think about. Touching her hair. Not in a random or playful way. But at the right moment, in the right energy, it becomes an incredibly intimate gesture. Why? Because the scalp is filled with sensitive nerve endings. A soft, deliberate touch can activate emotions and trust in ways words can't. When done right, it says, I'm here. I'm tuned into you. But it has to be done with care. With presence. Not like you're trying to make a move, but like you're simply connected. These kinds of gestures bypass logic and speak straight to emotion. And that's where true attraction lives. Think about those tiny moments. Walking together. You gently place your hand on her back as you open the door. You don't think twice. It's not a tactic. It's just who you are. A grounded man. A man who leads without needing attention. A man who's present and aware. And the energy she feels in that moment? It speaks louder than any compliment ever could. Because women are emotional creatures. They feel everything. And when you show up with subtle confidence and care, she feels something she doesn't. Now let me ask you, how often do you show up as a protector? Not in a dramatic, Hollywood action hero kind of way. But in the quiet, everyday ways that show her you've got her back. That you're steady. That you're emotionally reliable. It's how you respond when someone disrespects her. It's how you stay calm when things get tense. It's how you walk her home without making a big deal out of it. These small, seemingly unimportant moments, they build trust. They create safety. They send a powerful message, you're safe here. I've got you. Being a protector isn't about control. It's not about taking over. It's about showing her, through your calm energy and grounded presence, that she can relax when she's around you. And in today's world, where most men are reactive, insecure, or emotionally unavailable, that kind of energy is magnetic. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true strength doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. And when you live like that, everything changes, not just in your relationships, but in your entire life. And here's something incredibly powerful that almost no man uses, mentioning a dream you had about her. It sounds simple. Maybe even strange. But it works because it taps into female psychology in a subtle, emotional way. You're in conversation and you casually say, you know, I had the weirdest dream about you last night. And then you stop. You don't explain it immediately. You let her curiosity build. And when she asks, you say something simple, like, we were just talking at this little cafe. I don't remember all of it, but it felt really calm and nice. That moment stays with her. Because it wasn't forced. It wasn't a compliment. It came from a place she can't explain. It suggests you think about her, even in your subconscious. That she matters in some unspoken way. It plants emotional seeds. And that kind of mystery? That kind of genuine softness? It draws her in. Because it's not something most men ever think to say. And that's exactly why it works. Now let's talk primal attraction. The kind that bypasses logic and hits instantly. Something as simple as growing a well-groomed beard. You might think it's just a style choice, but studies show that women often associate beards with masculinity, maturity, and protection. In ancient times, warriors, philosophers, and leaders almost always had beards. And while culture has evolved, the psychology hasn't. A beard still symbolizes strength. It shows that you've grown into your masculinity, that you've embraced your identity. And when you combine that with presence, with emotional control, with subtle acts of care, you create something incredibly rare. But here's the key, none of this should feel like performance. You don't try to apply every secret like a checklist. You let them become part of who you are. When the moment is right, you act. Not because you want a reaction, but because that's just how you move through the world. You stay grounded.